Welcome back everyone, Mudford here. You can see I have a power steering gear in the vise, and that's not good. It is the power steering gear off the Bronco. We had it over at Rocks and Valleys. We were on the long crawl trail, and we got hung up on the rocks pretty bad, and when I went to winch out, I'm not sure what happened, but when we got all the way out, we were winding up the winch cable and there was power steering fluid pouring out. It was pouring out right around the seal at the pitman arm. So this is an original early Bronco steering box, I believe. Not cheap to replace, so we're going to go ahead and tear it down, order the seal kit for it, see if we can't get it to stop leaking. Let's tear into it. Well, I think I might have bent the shaft here that goes through, but what I'm going to do first is I'm going to rebuild the whole box. I'm going to put new bearings and new seals on the bottom. It has 2 seals down there. I'm going to see if it'll seal up. If it doesn't, I can get this from Tom's Bronco Parts for $300, but I'm hoping that new seals will take care of it. I had another video about the steering shaft build. I'll put the link right up here. This was the end I got. 13/16 36 spline, and you can see it fits really loose on there. So when I was ordering the parts, I ordered parts from Jeff's Bronco Graveyard. They're local. They had the parts to me in one day. I also got one of these Borgson joints like I have on the other end of the steering shaft. And look at the difference. Fits way better on the spline. First thing I'm going to do is take the locking nut off. And I went ahead and power washed this yesterday because it was really grimy. And drop it. We're just going to spin this off of the threaded part here. Okay, there's 3 teeth on this part of on this shaft that mesh up with teeth on the other one. You need to make sure it's right in the middle, otherwise it's not going to come out. Get it turned up. Now it should pop right out. Next thing we're going to do is get this huge nut thing off of here. And with it in the vise, if you have one of these huge pairs of channel locks, you should be able to get it to move. Maybe. I've already had this one loose, so it does come out. And then in order to get this piece out, you will need some type of a spanner wrench. Works the best. Fit right down in there. Okay, that's all I'm going to do here in the vise. I'm going to move over to the workbench. Here's what I got from Jeff's Bronco Graveyard right here. Here's the Borgson steering shaft U-joint. And here is the power steering repair kit. Looks like this diagram should be pretty helpful. Has all sorts of seals and bearings, and then there is a separate. So this is the kit. This should be everything that we need. Okay, you can just pull the locking ring off, just spin it till it comes off, and then this piece will thread out. You can set it aside for now. And then this part you can just grab a hold of and turn. I've got a little bit of water in there. I'll turn clockwise, we'll make it come out. And this is your worm gear. Okay, right on the worm gear right here on the end, you have these two washers with this bearing in between. Make sure you don't damage that. Taking this snap ring off of the end cap here, which can be very tricky to get out. You're going to have to try a bunch of different tools and screwdrivers and stuff to try to get it popped loose. I think I figured out what works the best here. There's a hole on this end here that goes through the casing right up to the snap ring, and I used actually this is a center punch. A regular punch the right size would have worked better, but I couldn't find one, and that did push this out. So now hopefully I can get behind it. Yep. Now we should be able to get this out. Just keep working it around. And there it is. 1/2 inch drive extension. And what it did is it just pushed the cap right off, and now this end should slide right out along with a lot of fluid. Once you get this piece driven out, there's a whole bunch of ball bearings in there. You don't want to lose them, and you can see I had quite a bit of nastiness in here, so probably a good thing I'm taking this apart. Next thing I'm going to do is drive both of the bearings out in here. There's one at this end and one right about here, and then I'll be able to wash this housing all up and paint it and have it ready to go for putting it back together. All I used to drive the bearings out was just a long 1/2 inch drive extension, and just tapped them with a hammer. They came out very easily. Now I'm just going to take the housing here, use a lot of brake parts cleaner on it, clean it up, get all the crud, all the slime out of it. I had some muddy looking stuff in there. I'm going to get that all cleaned out good, and then I'm going to go ahead and paint this before I start doing any of the work on putting it together. I'm just going to continue to remove seals like these. There's a Teflon seal. I think it has a rubber o-ring under it. And then I'm just going to clean all these parts up really good with brake parts cleaner. And I'm going to do the same thing with these seals, and then clean this up real good with brake parts cleaner also. Just need to hook these with your whatever pick tool you want to use. I like this one. And then, like I mentioned, the O-ring is underneath of it. And that one broke. So that one was quite brittle. Got this one off too. Now we got quite a big pile of O-rings and Teflon O-rings. Now we just have some cleaning to do. It's pretty cruddy in there. It looks kind of like mud. We're going to try to get all that out. I've been painting the housing, and I even painted the cap for it. Blue, that's just the color. I paint a lot of stuff because my Bronco's blue. So my diff covers are blue. So I just thought that would add a little something to it. Probably paint the end cap blue also. Okay, this piece here are all the parts that I took out of this piece. There's 2 seals that go in from this end, and there's a snap ring that holds them. There was an O-ring that fits in this groove here. So, bearing that went in from this side under the seal. That easily drove out with just a couple taps from a screwdriver. And here is all my new parts. So I'm going to go ahead, put these all in, and then I'll set this aside. This whole piece will be done then. So I'm going to put my O-ring in. O-rings on. Next thing to do is to drive the bearing down in. Alright, I dropped my bearing down in there. I just have a 20mm socket put on wrong on the extension. And I'm going to use it for a bearing driver. See how this works. Seems to be going good so far. Okay, I've got both seals started. Okay, when I get it close, what I'm going to do, I think it's close enough. I'm going to go ahead and put the snap ring in. You can see it's in on the one side. There. Okay. So this piece is done. New bearing, new seals. So we'll set that aside. I struggled with getting all these pieces here together, and I figured out the secret to it. You're going to want to put your new O-ring in right here, and then start this piece in. Make sure you don't pinch the O-ring. It's really easy to do. And then once you get it past there, you're going to push it quite a ways through. So this is sticking up like this. Okay, then you're going to take this piece, and there's a hole right there, if you can see it. And this little pin has to fit into there. So you're going to, there we go. I got it slid in, and it pops right in, and then it pops right down in. And that's what you want right there. If you try doing it other ways, it might not work correctly. And then you're going to turn this a certain way, and it should drop down even further in there. Once you have it turned correctly, it'll drop down. There's a notch and a pin. There's a pin in the outside of this housing and a notch in here. Once they line up, it'll drop in, and then you won't be able to turn it anymore inside of there. That's what you want. And then we drop our new O-ring in there. Get it to sit good all the way around. And then we're going to fit this together. And we're good. Now we have to put our new O-rings on here. We'll do that. Just going to walk them on. Put the one in the middle first. Okay, the O-rings are all on.